Arcturians. Making the fifth dimension real. What does it mean to make the fifth dimensional real? In fact, what does real mean? One of the challenges of being human within confusing now is that the definition of real seems to change daily. What is real and what is truth seems to change every day and with every thought and emotion. What is actually occurring is that we are in the process of preparing our Earth vessel to resonate to the frequency of the fifth dimension and beyond. It is only when our consciousness has expanded to resonate to at least some awareness and communication with the higher dimensions of our reality that the third dimensional vessels, which encompass your true fifth dimensional self, will be able to remember. This remembering can come in the version of a dream, a meditation, or any peak experience in which your consciousness can resonate to the frequency of the higher fourth and/or the fifth dimension. Whenever your consciousness resonates to the fifth dimension and beyond, even if just for a brief moment, you will be able to experience the fifth dimensional now. Once you are free of the time-space format of the third and fourth dimensional states of consciousness, you will be able to remember what you always knew, but forgot. When we say always knew, we mean that your higher dimensional expressions of self, which you all have, resonates beyond the third, fourth dimensional time and space. You will no longer be limited to the logical, sequential format of third dimensional communication. When you are free of that limitation, you will be more able to perceive our ships that are constantly visiting your planet within their innate, fifth dimensional frequency of reality. There are several reasons why humanity does not see the fifth dimension. For one reason, people usually choose to not perceive what they do not believe in, because it frightens them. There are already enough frightening things in the third dimension, especially now within the extreme changes of your planet and daily life. Of course, some humans do not perceive these changes because they do not want to perceive them. They are not ready to believe that there is a civilization that is much more evolved than them, and or a reality which they cannot control. Because the third dimension presents many challenges, especially within your now, many people have hidden their head under the covers and refuse to perceive the myriad changes that are occurring with Gaia's planet and weather system. Oh, it is just a phase, they say to comfort themselves. However, dear planet Gaia can no longer withstand the great damage that humanity has created on her planet. Therefore, Gaia herself has called us, the fifth dimensional and beyond galactics, to assist her in her time of great need. There are of course many wonderful humans who have dedicated their lives to planet Gaia, her nature, her people, and have come to realize that Mother Earth Gaia, as the galactics call her, is gravely damaged. Furthermore, a huge percentage of that damage can be traced back to humanity. It is for this reason that we, your galactic family, have been called on to assist Gaia with her planetary ascension. We say planetary ascension as all who have intertwined their personal energy field with Gaia, such as all the animals, plants and elementals, and even humans who have evolved their consciousness enough to perceive Gaia as a living being, are ready to release the training wheels of the three-doctor matrix. The three-doctor matrix was created so that lower dimensional beings would have a learning planet on which they could incarnate in order to learn about, practice and participate in the process of planetary ascension. Over the many centuries of which you are aware, it was known that great human leaders who sacrificed themselves for the good of humanity and for Gaia underwent huge initiations to gain complete control of their physical form so that they could choose to leave that physical body, die and expand their consciousness, and thus their form, into the fifth dimension and beyond. This expansion of consciousness was never for selfish purposes, because it is the process of serving others that allows their consciousness to expand, return to their innate fifth dimensional and beyond self. This self was called their higher self. At first, the grounded ones sought to unite with their higher self, whom they know was a higher frequency of the physical form that they were wearing. However, over time, they forgot. They forgot who they really were, and they forgot why they chose to take on an Earth vessel on a planet that would likely face huge challenges during that incarnation. Because they forgot who they were and why they took an Earth vessel, they also forgot that the reason that they came to Earth was to assist with planetary ascension. Worse yet, many of these brave warriors chose difficult childhoods so that they could learn more about the challenges of being a third-dimensional Earthling, as they called them. They had never experienced a traumatic or abusive childhood on their homeworld. In fact, many of them never experienced a childhood because they chose to place their essence consciousness into a mature being. In that manner, they could get right to work on their assignment. Therefore, when they came to Earth and had one of the myriad forms of child abuse, poverty, lack of opportunity, or diseases or birth defects, they had no way of understanding what was occurring or how they could conquer it. Therefore, they devolved into third-dimensional humans whose consciousness was far too often limited to the perception of only the third dimension. Fortunately, some of them were able to move into a version of fourth-dimensional consciousness in which they could use their imagination to be creative, learn about themselves, their birth family, and the many limitations of third-dimensional life. If they somehow did not get lost in the third dimension maze of difficult childhoods, limitation, separations, wars, and abandonment, they became very strong and very wise. It was then that they realized that they had passed the third fourth-dimensional initiations of life on a third-dimensional planet ruled by separation, time, space, birth, death, suffering, as well as many other challenges. Some volunteers to Earth never returned, but other brave warriors realized that since humans were totally responsible for all the distress of the planet, even the planetary changes, they realized that in order to assist dear Gaia, they would need to incarnate in a human form, often as a child or infant, and become a third-dimensional human. Fortunately for them all, at some point in their 3D life, many of them began to remember that there was much more to reality than that which was displayed by the many illusions of the third dimension. These ones realized that if they could expand their consciousness into the fourth dimension, they would be able to discover their innate creativity, interdimensional imagination, the joys of nature, of the deep love for Gaia, as well as for many of her beings, which sometimes included humanity. However, they did discover that they would need to study humanity and why so many humans had forgotten their true multidimensional self. In fact, they realized that many of the lost and confused humans were galactics, just like them, who had become lost in the illusions and negative energy fields. In fact, they did not even know what a negative energy field was, as they did not exist on their fifth-dimensional homeworlds or on their ships. Eventually, we, the members of our starships, began to come into the dreams and meditations of their galactic friends who had volunteered to incarnate on Earth to assist Gaia and her awakening and awakened humans. We say awakening and awake humans, as those who had not expanded their consciousness into the higher fourth or fifth dimension were not able to perceive us. At first, we exposed our ships more often, but we found that all that did was to frighten humans or turn us into their gods. It was not helpful for us to serve as gods or saviors, but we did realize that if we could find a human who was able to go through the many challenges of expanding their consciousness beyond the third and lower fourth dimensions, a member of their humanity could assist them to believe in a form of higher power. We Pleiadians are not a higher power for humanity, but many of us have taken incarnations on Earth to discover the manner in which we could best assist humanity and remind them that Earth is a living being just as they are. We found that humans enjoyed having an external human who appeared to be above them, but they often worshipped us in some primitive manner rather than listening to our message. The problem was, and still is, that Earth has been primarily ruled by a group of beings from a devolved society in